Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Joseph?
Here.
Commissioner Stuyvesant? Here. Commissioner Lama?
Here.
Vice Mayor Viscara?
Here.
Mayor Goldman?
Here.
All members present, madam.
Okay, the Pledge of Allegiance and the incomparable Norman Edelcup. I think you can at this point lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the invocation, I'd like to call up the incomparable Chief Fred Moss.
Good evening, everyone. Brothers and sisters of all ages, imagine, if you will, that this afternoon and this evening we were conducting a memorial instead of a celebration. Imagine, if you will, that instead of reading the names of scholarship recipients and the success of their efforts, we were memorializing their names on a monument or a headstone. Imagine, if you will, if parents and family members were before all of us, you and I, asking questions about how this could have happened, instead of saying thank you for the recognition of their children. Imagine, if you will, if our city officials, council members, school officials were offering explanations and press conferences for tragedy instead of congratulations for success and safety. Finally, imagine if the police officers and first responders standing behind me and out on the street tonight had failed all of us in protecting the lives of our most precious commodity every day at Edelcup K-8 school. It is frightening, it is sobering, and it is reality. So my prayer tonight is that of gratitude and thanksgiving to God, the Father of us all, however you call him or recognize or worship him, for the protection, guidance, and safety that we have enjoyed over the years at our schools and our parks. My heart broke at Uvalde, Texas, for the littlest of God's angels, and it continues to ache each time we experience these tragedies. So may we never, ever stop praying or stop protecting or stop thanking God for one more day of keeping our children, our families safe in Sunny Isles Beach. God bless you all, and to this we all said, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Preparedness.
Thank you. Okay, we have now the approval of the minutes. That's for the regular City Commission meeting, the summary minutes of May 19, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. For the order of business, my opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being here tonight. Please turn off or mute any electronic devices to avoid interrupting these proceedings. In all issues that may come before the City Commission, we ask that everyone show mutual respect for one another by listening quietly to each person speaking, and that everyone refrain from any clapping, heckling, or verbal outbursts in favor or in opposition to a speaker. Individuals that do not adhere to Chapter 74 Rules of Procedure of the Code, particularly Section 74-21 decorum, shall be barred from further appearance before the Commission. Individuals who want to speak on any item on the agenda are asked to fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. Speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 1 3-minute comment per item. If you exceed the 3-minute allotment, the chair will advise you to finish your comment. If you speak out of turn without permission from the chair, and/or you don't cease speaking after one warning, you will be escorted out of the chambers. There are a couple of changes to the agenda as follows. We're going to defer item 10L, appointments to the Youth Advisory Committee, and we have one add-on item, item 12B, discussion regarding Women's Commission. Do I hear a motion to approve these changes?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And now for our special presentations. 5A is update from the Environmental Sustainability Advisory Committee, the ESAC. Christina? Our chair, the incomparable Christina Miskus. We're going to use that word throughout the evening.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, City Manager. Thank you to Mauricio and to Marlene for assisting the committee with the work that we're doing. So I just want to say that up front, that they've been working really hard to support the work of the committee, and I'm here to represent myself and the committee members. That we've been working on identifying the needs and priorities for environmental and sustainability issues for the city. And we've been working since the beginning of the year, so we thought that semi-annual progress report to you, as we serve at your discretion and at your request, would be a good time to give you an update. The most progress we've made in terms of priorities are on the Dune Master Plan. When we originally met with commissioners at our joint meeting, this was definitely a priority issue for many of the commissioners and the mayor. And we did do a lot of research, working with Lee Gottlieb from Adopt a Dune, who spearheaded ecosystem restoration projects along the dunes. And we've come to the conclusion that we can keep working towards this as a goal. We think it's an important goal for erosion issues, storm surge issues, ecosystem issues. And with the advice and assistance of Lee Gottlieb, we could come up with a framework of key elements for a Dune Master Plan, and then come back to the commission in about 3 months with a more robust set of recommendations. And in terms of other priorities, community outreach we felt was an important aspect of environmental issues for the committee. And we heard from the middle school students and middle school teachers. And did you receive the memo actually, Mauricio? I'm not sure if that was disseminated.
Yes, it was. It was provided to the city manager's office.
Okay, wonderful. I'm not sure have you had a chance to look at it, but the recommendations are a little bit more.
To send that out. We just got it recently.
Okay, I know it was just received actually this week. So, but there is a little bit more information on there, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have once you get a chance to look at it. But community outreach was definitely identified as a priority for the committee, and sea turtle signage was identified as something that would be a low-hanging fruit for the city to provide to the residents and visitors. In the same way that the seagrass signage has been put up at lifeguard stations. Sea turtle nesting is an important ecosystem issue that a lot of visitors may not have information about. And social media, improved social media outreach, working with the school, who already is involved in creating video presentations on environmental issues, would be a way to get the message out there on important issues like littering, et cetera. And in terms of shade, one of our committee members is a volunteer for a Fruit Tree Canopy Association and had offered in our meetings with Mauricio some opportunities for free trees. So I don't know how far that's gotten. But setting priorities for increased shading in the city due to the increasing climate issues and increasing heat issues. So I'm sorry you didn't get the memo. There was a lot of information in there, and perhaps I could come back, with a more robust report. Yeah. Do you have any questions about our priorities so far? We're looking for more direction from you, and make sure we're headed in the right direction. If there needs to be a greater emphasis on certain issues, but we hope to be back in September with a more robust set of recommendations for the Dune Master Plan.
So I have a question. As you know, it's something that I'm personally very interested in is the dune. That will run those simultaneous with any other dune restoration efforts, right? We're with a master plan, but of course, there will be concurrently some dune,
Right.
some emphasis on dune restoration. to
Yeah, the
those
city
areas.
itself has been undergoing restoration efforts along the dune system very successfully. Many of the commissioners, obviously, you've been there in person. And Lee Gottlieb, my understanding is, will continue to spearhead public-private partnerships and opportunities for improved dunes. And the Dune Master Plan is to provide a macro-level plan for the future so we can continue working on these issues and not lose momentum, and to provide guidelines. What should be planted out there? For example, what plants are the best for erosion prevention? How exactly should we tackle the challenges? There should be an action plan as part of the master plan moving forward as well.
Great.
I have a question.
Yes.
With regards to the dune restoration, they're obviously right behind buildings or, between the beach and the buildings. Are the buildings themselves involved in maintaining? Is there an ask on our part, or, how are they maintained? What's the expectation?
Yeah, so my understanding is that a majority is in private property in terms of the actual dune system, so it would require partnerships with the private owners. It is in the interest of everyone for the dune system to be improved because it protects their properties as well. And my understanding is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has required that moving forward for cities to keep receiving renourishment fees for the beaches, for the sand, they want to show partnership with cities to continue improving and building on the dune systems, because that's such an important part of keeping the beach and the sand there, is having a really robust dune system. So I think it will require public-private partnerships for sure. Yeah. I mean, there is some land obviously in the city hands, but most is in private property.
Right, Sampson Park is Sampson Park, we have the dunes in front of Sampson Park, but those are public. Those are city-controlled dunes, a dune system.
Yeah, and there's a varying degree of conditions along the beach system. Some dunes are in really good condition, and some are full of exotics and are not really doing a good job of keeping the sand in place, and it actually contributes to erosion and loss of beachfront. So there's a varying set of conditions along the dune system. So my understanding is that at some point, once we come closer to a robust framework, that it would have to be finalized by a professional planning service firm, and then there would have to be some sort of codification requirements, so that we could really work closely with the private developers to build the dune system that the city envisions.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
So are you currently going out and addressing condos to see if they're interested in upgrading their dune system?
Oceania, my understanding is, has been the most active.
Right, but besides, we know about
besides
Oceania, we've
Oceania.
been out there.
Right.
Any others have come on board or no?
Not that I'm aware of. I know this has to be like a door-to-door sort of effort in a way.
Right. So no one has been approaching other condos? It's
that would be a
just Oceania
question.
and that's it?
Maybe the Lee Gottlieb, runs the nonprofit, is trying to work as much as he can with private owners along the city, beach
Right.
system.
So no other progress has been made?
That would be a question for the city, I think. I don't know if that's a city priority to build these partnerships yet or not.
I think it's really the order of things, as I say. It's the order of things, right? I think it's one step. It's the implementation of the initial restoration, which is throughout Oceania, which is quite expansive, and it's not. Doing a dune restoration doesn't happen in a day, right? So I think that's the order of, the first site, right, to do it, and they've done an access point dune, which is very interesting. And then, of course, there's another area that's been identified, and then the implementation of the master plan, and then there will probably be some discussion or the other buildings would be approached, right? It's not just developers. These are turned over buildings. So if the
Right.
dune is on the property, it's a discussion on a private property. It's really the discussion with the board of the association.
Right, and there has to be some level, my understanding is, of prioritization. Where is the need the greatest along the dune system? And then guidelines will be really helpful in those discussions. So we come with something to the table and say, this is what we're really looking to see in the city. This is what is best for the beaches. This is what we'd like to work with you to create.
So is your committee going out, or you haven't gotten to that point yet to approach condos?
The committee itself doesn't have the time necessarily to do door-to-door knocking because we all have full-time professions. And that's been really the challenge, is creating impetus, creating initiatives when we're volunteers and we work just on a committee level. But I think that working with Lee Gottlieb, who is the nonprofit driver of that change, I think he'll be really helpful, and he's not the only organization. Our hope is to continue partnering with other organizations to create, these public-private partnerships, and they can do that kind of knocking on the doors.
Right, it's not an overnight proposition.
No, I
Right,
understand.
it's just not going to happen in a week. These are long-term projects.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Th-
Okay, very good. Do you want me to come back with the memo, or just to come back in 3 months when we have more to show?
No, I'll distribute it to the mayor and commissioners
okay,
and discuss it
perfect.
with them.
All
Thank
right,
you. Thank you
thanks.
very much.
Thank you, Christina. Okay, the proclamation, next item for Code Enforcement Appreciation Week.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, I'm going to ask our code and parking enforcement team to come up as Mauricio prepares to read the proclamation. So come on up, come up to the front. Let the audience see you. If you've ever been cited or given a parking citation, it's by these guys right here. So you need to know who they are. Come on up. But the job that they do on a day-to-day basis, the least of which is trying to keep Collins moving. We've received a lot of complaints about the trucks blocking Collins. These guys are in the field on Collins every day, making sure that we're trying to ensure the safety and continuous flow of traffic. And they also patrol and take care of all of your residential neighborhoods. So any issues that you have, this is the group of people that take care of it. They receive a lot of complaints, but the job that they do and the respect that they give our residents is unparalleled. So nationally, there is a movement in June to recognize them for Code and Parking Enforcement Officers Appreciation Month, and that's what it's here. So we'll ask Mauricio to read the proclamation, please.
Whereas code enforcement officers provide for the safety, health, and welfare of the citizens in this community through the enforcement of building, zoning, housing, animal control, fire safety, environmental, and other codes and ordinances. And whereas code enforcement officers are often not credited with the jobs that they do in saving lives and improving neighborhoods. Whereas every day, assisted by support and program staff, they attempt to provide quality customer service to the public for the betterment of the community. And whereas too many times their efforts go unnoticed, even after code compliance has been accomplished due to their efforts and expertise. And whereas code enforcement officers are dedicated, well-trained, and highly responsible individuals who take their jobs seriously and are proud of their department and the local government within which they serve. And whereas the Florida Association of Court Enforcement has declared the first week of June be set aside by local governments to honor and recognize their code enforcement officers. Now therefore does Dana Robin Goldman, as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission, declare June 7th through the 11th, 2022 as Code Enforcement Appreciation Week.
So thank you. And Mayor, I'd like to recognize Helena Forbes in particular as our manager of this department and ask Helena, thank you. And ask that you go down just to take some quick photos with them, please. Thank you. And then they can get back to work.
Vanessa. Can you grab the proclamation that's underneath the dais? I mean, the podium? Yeah. So they can hold it.
Move a little bit.
Next item is a proclamation presented for Tree City, USA.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission. We were originally awarded the status of Tree City USA in 2019. We comply each year with the requirements to renew and have been awarded in 2020, and this is our third year renewal for 2021. We are one of 163 Tree City USA communities in the state of Florida, and it was perfect timing to have the ESAC chair here for this acknowledgement. Works hand in hand.
More trees, right?
More trees. Yes.
We got that.
Mhm.
That's the memo, right? More
That's
trees.
the memo.
Okay. Wonderful. So we're reading the proclamation or?
No, Mayor, it's just acknowledging the
Recognition.
designation.
Okay,
It's the
now for
acceptance
the,
of the award.
guys, introduction of new police officers and Officer of the Month presentation. Showtime.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, Mr. Manager. Proud tonight, but very nervous. I mean, I can't follow in the footsteps of the former chief. I mean,
Yes, you can.
he's amazing when he speaks. So tonight, I want to introduce 3 of our new officers that we hired May 30th. They started, so I'm proud to introduce. First is Officer Chevrolet Cruz. She comes from Miami-Dade School Board. She's been with them for 3 years. We're lucky to have her. In the middle is Officer Roxana Martinez. She's been with Miami-Dade School Board also for 2.5 years. And Jeffrey Schroeder at the end. He has almost 11 years with Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office, and he actually just did 22 years with the FBI. He's retired. So I'm very lucky to have all 3 of them. So our Officer of the Month is Detective Glansberg for last month, but he's on vacation. So we're not going to do that presentation, but they said they wanted to sing. I don't know.
Oh, let's.
Okay.
So I'm not going to put him on the spot, but
Encore.
yes. Again, we're very happy to have them. They're just starting, but you can tell they're destined for amazing things. They're going to fit well with our department, with the community, and these are the officers that not only follow the philosophy that I have, but the philosophy that former Chief Moss created. You go above and beyond for our residents, and you always ask what you can do for them, no matter what. You just always go above and beyond. Nothing's too small. So thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome aboard.
Stay safe, stay safe.
Okay. Special recognition for the city's 25th anniversary. So we're just now at the tail end of a whirlwind tripartite or triumvirate of celebrations that we've had and continuing on throughout the week and the last few weeks. June 16th, 1997, 25 years ago, the city of Sunny Isles Beach was officially formed. So I want to thank everybody, those in this room, those watching virtually, some who are watching from above, right? For all that you have done to make this city the incredible place that it is to live, to work, to breathe, and to celebrate in. We are really extraordinarily blessed to have such a robust, incredible city, and it's really the result of the hard work and dedication and intellect and foresight of our founders, our commissions, our wonderful, wonderful, incredible staff, our police department, everything that makes this city such a special, vibrant place that it is. So everybody, the employees, the stakeholders, the business owners, the developers, committee members, former, present, future, it really all came together to make us the fabulous success that this city has become. Thanks to everyone for coming out and celebrating our events. I don't know if anybody caught the fireworks here in the room, but they were spectacular. The planning, our Pop 2000 tour, our carnival, our aisles at Gateway. It was really an incredible celebration, and it really is a testament to our vitality and our sense of community that, we've had this level of celebration, right? It really is a testament to so much that we've been able to enjoy this great success and just great the largesse of that makes up our city of Sunny Isles Beach. To commemorate this year, 2 awards are being presented this evening. Retired Mayor Norman S. Edelcup Art Achievement Scholarship and the Retired Chief Fred A. Moss Athletic Achievement Scholarship. Want to present these awards and want to just thank you so profusely on behalf of the entire commission, past and present, for all that you have done to make this city the great place that it is. We have a huge debt of gratitude to these extraordinary individuals, Norman Edelcup, Fred Moss, for really building the foundation and making our city what it is today. So thank you so much. With that, I'd like for you to come up. We have a couple of... You want to talk? Speak? Go ahead. Go on. Take the mic. Take the mic.
I don't know how to do this and be facing both the audience and also the commission. It's a wonderful honor that you've bestowed on Fred and myself, and we really appreciate the effort that you've gone through to make this a special event and a memorable event for us to remember for the rest of our lives. We're both dedicated people that believed in cityhood for Sunny Isles Beach, and we both strove to make Sunny Isles Beach one of the premier cities in all of Florida, if not in all the world. We started off with a city that was little known and somewhat decrepit. For those of you that aren't aware, I've lived here 53 years, and I know Fred's lived a long time in Florida, but I've lived in Sunny Isles before it was a city since 1969, so I remember the Motel Row and the heydays of Motel Row, as well as the period when it was not so nice, and there were unsavory things happening as the city was in decay. And fortunately, there were a few other pioneers who unfortunately are no longer here with us today. But Dave Sampson, our first mayor, was the organizer in 1996 who said that it was time to become a city. We had been rejected, by the way, to be part of Aventura. Aventura became a city the year before us, and we had approached Aventura to be part of their city. In fact, some of the development that was going on where Lou Thaler lives today in Ocean One were advertised as Aventura Beach. And unfortunately for Aventura, they turned us down, and we decided that we would show them we could be a comparable, if not better, city. So we've been friendly rivals all along. But again, Dave Sampson was the ringleader of getting this started. Danny Iglesias, who was on the first commission, also was one of the original founders, along with Irving Turetsky and Irving Diamond. And the four of us basically met in the year 1996 to petition the county. At that point, Gwen Margolis was chair of the county commission, and Alex Pinellas was mayor. And we were able to convince the county to allow us to go for a vote. 80% of our people in the city at that time who could vote voted in favor. By the way, that was 2,000 votes back in 1996 and 97, which is a reminder that when you have a real issue, the public came out, because today sometimes it's even hard to get 2,000 votes here today when the population has more than tripled from where it was then. But I can go on and on as a historian, and I don't want to take all this time because I know Fred Moss can do a much better job of handling our audience here and telling them some really good stories, I think, of the past. But I was fortunate enough to have Fred as our police chief while I was mayor, and I'm sure everyone realizes what a great job he did in making the police force personable to everybody in the city, and all of our people in the city knew many of our officers by their first name. So Fred, would you come on up and bail me out with your loquacious voice?
It'll be easy to make this very brief. Chief Santiago, you made me extremely proud when you said to the officers about going above and beyond, because that was the foundation and my marching orders that I was given when I first came to the city in 1998 and became chief in 1999, was to have a police department that was on a first-name basis, that made a difference on each and every call, and that where the people felt that they could get assistance or direction or help above and beyond. So that was the summation of it. We built the wall a brick at a time, and as things changed with development, we were there to assist in any way that we could. So nobody gives a better history lesson off the cuff than the mayor does. But with regards to the department, we doubled in size, and the rest is pretty much history. The goal was to make a difference on each and every call. And although we failed at certain times, for the most part, we really tried to hit the mark. It was not, however, without the support of the council members, the city officials, the other department heads, the other employees who many times supported us without as much recognition as they deserved, and without a doubt, all of the residents who believed in us, who thanked us, appreciated us. And I'll give you one last thing for the new 3 officers. Tell them to pick good mentors. That has everything to do with it. And by mentorship, I mean people who set the example and do the right job and the right thing when no one's looking. And I'll close with that. God bless you all. So good to see all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really, we are inspired, aren't we, Eddie? We're inspired, right? We're inspired that you're here. We're inspired that you have done all that you have done for this community and for building the foundation for our present and our future. Both. Thank you so much for all that you've done, and little appreciation here. The city of Sunny Isles Beach dedicates the retired Mayor Norman S. Edelcup Art Achievement Scholarship in honor of retired Mayor Norman S. Edelcup this 16th day of June, 2022. The city of Sunny Isles Beach dedicates the retired Chief Fred A. Moss Athletic Achievement Scholarship in honor of retired Chief Fred A. Moss this 16th day of June, 2022. We are honored. Yes, we are honored. Thank you.
Mayor, Commissioner Joseph, please stay down there for a moment.
What would a celebration be without cake, right?
Yes, Myra's going to pass them out to everyone. Everybody gets their own individual? No? Yes. While they're passing out a cupcake for everyone, we have a video to play if you would like to watch the screens.
Happy birthday, Sunny Isles Beach.
Yes.
Happy anniversary. 25, you see what you can accomplish in 25 years? Since, it's pretty amazing. Okay, we're ready for ordinances, first reading,
Yes, the first one is 7A.
item 7A.
It's an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending ordinance number 2021-574, approving budget amendment BA 2022-02 to the city's operating and capital improvement budget for the 2021-2022 fiscal year general fund, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement the terms and conditions of this ordinance, providing for an effective date. And before Tiffany starts, Mayor and Commissioners, once the motion is made to, if it's made to approve the ordinance on first reading, I'm going to ask that it be done as amended because we need to include the capital projects fund because it's also being amended.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor and Commission, this is essentially an emergency budget amendment. It only includes two items. The first being to appropriate funds for the Bella Vista capital project. There's an amendment that's going to come before you to actually add funding to the G Concrete contract. The other is a little unique, but our circumstances as far as the international supply chain is also unique. So the police, they've discovered that the lead times are extremely extended for police vehicles and ocean rescue vehicles. So we are requesting to commit funds from the fiscal year 22-23 budget now to appropriate them in this year so that they can actually place orders for vehicles that may take anywhere up to 15 months to get. So those are the two items.
Okay.
So they would ordinarily appear on the following year's
They
budget,
norm-
but we have
correct.
to front load the ordering of these.
Yes, in order to ensure that they'll have them in time for, police staff.
And these are needed vehicles and
Can ask.
these are all vehicular purchases, correct? Which are
Correct.
large scale purchases, relatively speaking.
Correct.
Thank you so much. We have no public speakers on this?
I have a question,
Do we have-
please. So these vehicles, they are absolutely needed at this time, is that it?
I'm actually going to ask either Captain Santiago or Lieutenant Plisa to come up,
Yes.
and they can explain to you a little bit more.
The only reason I ask that question is because I've gone in for a vehicle now myself, and the asking price is $20,000 to $30,000 above the normal price because of the issues that you mentioned.
Understood. And I meant Chief Santiago, sorry about that.
So, acting Lieutenant Sergeant Luke Plisa will explain to you the importance of ordering the cars and the process where we're not going to be paying that markup, and this is why we're doing it to avoid paying that markup.
Yes, we have to place an order with the manufacturer, and there's designated dates. And if we don't get in line now, we're going to see like 30 to 42-week lead times. On top of that, we're also trying to keep the sustainable challenge going, right? And we're ordering hybrid cars, so those lead times have been a little more. So just in an effort to plan in order to have those vehicles for next year,
Right.
this is required.
Okay.
Also,
Now,
just to let you know, Chevy opened up their window for the GSA contract, and their allotment was done in like
12 hours.
12 hours.
And I know for personal reasons, I placed an order with Ford in 2020,
Right.
and I was able to lock the price
Right.
of 2020.
Right.
And I have not even received the car yet. Apparently it's in production, hopefully, so I will receive it this summer, but with the 2020 price. Right now, the car that I ordered is twice the price in the market. So,
Right,
yeah.
and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Exactly. So I think this is really necessary, and I applaud you guys for thinking ahead of the times. And I think you are doing great by placing the order today, right now, so you can lock the price, and whatever happens with the economy, with inflation, supply chain, et cetera, we can just try to surpass that.
Thank you. Just to be clear, in that unit price is also emergency equipment.
Correct.
So you're going to get a complete police car for that unit price.
Now, these vehicles, though, they're 2022 or 2023?
You know, we're kind of at the mercy of the manufacturer, to be honest with you. It just kind of depends on how quickly we get in line. So because we have been unable to commit without approval, it's just going to depend on how quickly we can get that order in with our vendor, Bartow Ford.
Okay, but what if you're paying this price and then you end up getting a 2022?
I mean, we would
It
be
has
okay
less
with that
value,
because we're locked in
correct?
at a certain price. You know, if we don't get fleet pricing, we're paying MSRP, and the MSRP would be more. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
And these are all hybrid, for the most, these are hybrid vehicles, right?
The Explorers are hybrid. The F-150 for Ocean Rescue would be hybrid as well. Yes, ma'am.
And part of the necessity, the pricing and and thank you for being budget conscious.
Sure.
But part of the necessity is we're bringing on new officers, and they
Right.
probably need cars, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
right,
amount
so
of
that,
personnel
we're planning
growth.
ahead for that as well.
Absolutely. We don't want to be without cars. That would be catastrophe. So trying to plan ahead.
So we're planning ahead
Yes, ma'am.
and in a budget conscious way, so
Yes.
that's good.
Okay. I make a motion with the amendment.
I'll second.
With the amendment, yes.
Oh, public comment?
We have no public speakers for that item, so
Correct.
with
So
that being
this is,
said, unless there are any other comments, I think, we
Oh,
can entertain a motion.
Yeah, I make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor,
This is a
as
roll call,
amended? Oh, it's a roll call. Go ahead.
And the motion is as amended.
As amended,
As
correct.
amended.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Joseph,
Aye.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Suvasan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes,
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for July.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7B,
7B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending the adopted City of Sunny Isles Beach Comprehensive Plan to create a property rights element in compliance with Florida Statute 163.3177, 6I, providing for transmittal to the State Land Planning Agency and other review agencies identified in Florida Statute 163.3184, 1C, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement the terms and conditions of this ordinance, providing for an effective date.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a state-required revision that there are property rights elements that we must make part of our comprehensive plan prior to making any changes. We heard this item earlier, and it was recommended by the local planning agency to move it forward. We also have our contractor here that we're going to ask to come up and do a brief presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Commission. Caitlin Forbes, Planning Practice Leader for SEPI Engineering and Construction. As Mr. Morris just mentioned, the item before you tonight is the property rights element to be made part of the city's comprehensive plan. The state mandated that this new element be adopted into each municipality's comprehensive plan about a year ago in July of 2021. The state does require that this is a standalone element and it has to be adopted before any other amendments can be made to your plan. So because of this time restriction, we are bringing this to you ahead of some of the other items and deficiencies that were identified in your EAR letter in December of 21. We are simply adopting the exact language that's identified in the state's bill, nothing more, nothing less. So overall, there's only one goal, one objective. It's short and sweet. It speaks to the considerations the city must make with respect to private property rights in their decision-making process. And in conclusion, as I mentioned, this is a state-mandated element and will help to bring your plan into compliance.
we've already kind of, and we have no public speakers, so, I mean, we've already kind of discussed and vetted this item, so that being said, unless there are any comments, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
So roll call, Mayor.
Roll call.
Yes.
Okay,
Commissioner Lama,
I'll get that. I'll get
Yes.
it.
Commissioner Silverson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for July. I'm sorry, after we receive it from the reviewing agencies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7C.
7C is an ordinance of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, creating Chapter 232 of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances to be titled Commercial Photography, to provide for the regulation and permitting of commercial photography on private and public property, providing for exemptions, providing for penalties, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission, back in 1999, the city entered into an interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade Film Office. They had a one-stop permitting program, and we participated in that, so all of our film permitting was going through there. In 2009, we renewed that to get us through 2019. Since then, when that agreement expired, we have had no enforcement authority for film permitting. It's a huge industry in South Florida, and we would prefer to manage that on the local level. So we have worked with the city attorney's office to draft this ordinance to meet the same criteria that we had previously.
We have no speaker comments, but I
ma'am.
do have comments on this. So for me, taking a look at this, I completely agree with the policy with respect to commercial film shootings, but I find that this definition is a little overly broad. And so for me, incorporating things like wedding photography, any social media content, and any type of, for me, I wonder if when we had the county regulation, whether or not, this was as expansive and as broadly construed as, as what you're putting out now for consideration.
Yes, it was. I would say that, and I would say that social media or digital photography, videography, and how social media is used for advertising now has changed that a little bit. So we had to use a little bit more broad language, but through the process, we're very reasonable. But wedding photography has always been included if it's a paid photographer photo shoot, with lights and mirrors and stuff like that. It's always been included. The exception is journalism.
So any type of a social media shoot with one-on-one, like a TikTok or another video, what would happen if you saw somebody like on the beach, doing an Instagram, and, is that considered, like how far is this going to be, enforced, so to speak?
No, it really requires them to set up a prop or set up lights or do something. I don't think we would have any way of knowing if somebody was filming a TikTok video with their phone. But Val, if you'd like to answer that.
Sure. There's, in section K2, there's specific exemption for filming by individuals for personal use.
So let's say, and I did identify that exemption, but let's say you're doing, how would you know? Like somebody's shooting a TikTok or what, to what extent? For me, it's a little broad, and I don't know how far we're going to enforce it. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I think it's going to be, we're going to have to guide our code enforcement officers, and they're going to have to use discretion, but I think they understand the general intent of the ordinance.
And if I may, just one example that I know happened in the past, on a sidewalk in the right-of-way, there was somebody, they were doing it with cell phones, but they had a portable changing booth. You remember that, Susan? They had a portable changing booth where they were changing their outfits and blocking the sidewalk, and so they may have just been doing it with their phones, but clearly that was not for necessarily personal use, and it was disrupting the sidewalk, and so that's why a permit would be necessary. So even though maybe one or two people, it could be disruptive.
Mm-hmm. I just hate to see, one person doing a shoot of one other person and that being, where's your permit and, where
If
did
they're
you?
not disrupting the general use of city property or right-of-way, and it's not obstructing anything or causing any harm, I cannot imagine that code enforcement would even stop and talk to them, let alone ask for a permit.
Okay, so standard run-of-the-mill social, Instagram or whatever shoots, you're not gonna, you want to, it should be part of it, incorporated, but it's really, the intent is only for, commercial and so
use,
forth.
yes.
Well, I'd like to say that I know in Golden Shores on 186th Street, we had a van set up, backed out a car out of the van, set up cameras and screens, and there was a Maserati that they were filming racing up 186th Street towards Collins. And this happened 3 times in a row, and then they took off and left. So it's also a matter of catching them as they're doing it. But these are things that are happening.
But without something like this, you wouldn't be able to enforce anything.
Exactly.
So
that's the
and this
thing as
isn't
well.
going to prevent tourists from taking vacation pictures on the beach of their
Correct.
families. Like, that's not what this is going to do. This is to allow us, and the permit would have a fee attached to it. So we actually might, collect some monies to help fund, some of these efforts. Whereas right before with the county, we didn't get anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Plus-
just the administrative process.
Plus, they need a permit regardless, either with the county or now with us. But for commercial, you needed a permit, right? So
Correct.
now we are controlling it.
Yes.
And,
Right, it's-
yeah,
Collecting the fee.
and
It's-
collecting the money.
We
It's
need
not about the
ordinances
money,
like
it's-
this because we're losing control of our streets.
It's not about the money, it's really about regulating the behavior that has the
Yes.
potential to impact. I just don't want it to be so broad and so, so that we're, everybody's using their phones today to take pictures everywhere, right? And it's the streets, it's the beaches, it's the access points and the parks and so forth. And but this is also on private property, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's outdoor, if it's 100% indoor, non-disruptive, if you bring a photographer in your home to shoot some family photos, that does not require anything. But if you have MTV film a music video in your backyard by your pool that is blasting music and bringing a bunch of cars into the neighborhood, that would require a film permit. And both of those are examples of things that we've had in the past. And if Helena's still here, I can commend the code enforcement department because we've worked, Cultural and Community Services worked hand in hand with them. They would call us and ask us, does this require a film permit? So, I think they understand, what does and what doesn't.
The first thing I thought of when I read this was when we had the car races, and they did the introduction, and it's Miami Gardens, but the introduction to it was Sunny Isles Beach. And we looked great, but we didn't give permission for that necessarily, nor did we need to.
Right.
But it would give us some regulatory power, like for things like that. Listen, it's nice to be featured on something like
Yes.
that, but nobody asked us. It just gets done.
Correct.
So, but you wanna take a harder look at some of that language, we could pass it for,
Yeah,
The first reading and then-
Yeah, I'm, in spirit, in philosophy, I'm okay with it. I just don't want it to be I don't want us to be over-regulating and overdoing it where something is just so benign, such as, people, again, shooting pictures of our skyline and, or shooting, it's still a little broad for my taste, but I'd like to be able to take a second look at it and be able to address it on second reading.
Well, I would like to say, though, that while you're taking another look at it, to understand as well that, these issues are evolving as we speak. There's new types of media coming out that we can't even fathom now.
But I
So
could
we
see
need to
where
be
we,
ahead
yeah,
of things.
I could see where we have weddings, and I can understand, for me, it's marginal, but the weddings, okay. But the film, I mean, how often does a film crew even come in here to film? Maybe I don't know.
We
so-
have several requests that
Okay.
have been denied because it's always on public property and it would require us to close a park or close the pier, or interrupt the beach or let large vehicles drive on the beach, things like that, that we would rather not impact the community that way.
So the permit gives you the discretion, but to do it, but it some ways,
It would regulate it, so they would have to meet,
the criteria and the
Right, they'd have to
insurance and so
insure it.
forth, and,
Correct.
okay.
And up until now, we've been referring them to other cities or to Hollover.
Okay. Any other comments from the dais? Okay. So, that being said, if there's a motion to approve?
I would second.
Is there a motion? We need a motion. Do we
Okay,
have a second?
I'll first.
Oh, go ahead. A first, a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Silverson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman,
A yes, with the proviso that we'll take a little bit of a look at it and maybe carve out some, maybe tighten it up a little. Okay?
the ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for July.
Okay, the next item is 9A.
9A is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 193, Noise of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, providing for definition of terms, providing for additional standards of sound measurement, repealing the exemption for noise generated within an existing condominium, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date, and this is second and final reading.
Okay, so this noise ordinance has been a work in progress for months, and we've had a lot of discussion. I'm sure that I share the concerns of the entire commission, that we do receive complaints on a regular basis about noise issues, and it's an effort to create, better enforceability of the noise ordinance, and certainly, for all the condominium buildings, it's just a worthy exercise, in my opinion. We've gone over this in the first reading about the particulars of this ordinance. So that being said, I think we have one public speaker comment here. There's a public speaker. Is this speaker here?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Mr. Dean Burry. You can state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Dean Burry, 16445 Collins Avenue, Water Suite 1B, which is Oceania 2. Madam Mayor, Chair, I'm in a little awkward situation here. I'm here because I've had difficulty getting the noise ordinance enforced by the man you just gave an award to and cake and everything else. So I apologize a little bit for being a little negative tonight. I'm here to help because, I'm a tax attorney and I'm very good with code, and I want to see if we can make the noise ordinance better. My problem has been it's been unenforceable in the past as written. I go to the city, the police department tells me they can't help me. The city attorney tells me he can't help me. It's been just tremendous frustration. Now, obviously, we have a new chief of police, we have a new city attorney, so hopefully things will be better. My basic problem is I live right on the ocean, and we have a private company, Beach Raker, that runs a tractor every day, to scrape the beach, and my POA condo association pays for it, and I'm happy to do that. Obviously, you want the beach raked, but I don't want it done at 4 a.m. They take on too many contracts, they get greedy, they put lights on top of the tractor, and they literally go any time of the night. The beach is supposed to be closed between sunup and sundown, but somehow they can do this. So I've tried to enforce the noise ordinance, and under the noise ordinance under 193, 11, it's got all the construction noise and the construction equipment, and earth moving equipment is specifically mentioned. Obviously, moving beach sand is moving earth. And the enforcement is the Development Services Department and the Police Department. My experience over the years has been, I call the police department and they refuse to come. They tell me there's nothing we can do about it. So I go to City Hall, talk to the chief of police, he sends me to Hans Ottenot. I talk to Hans, Hans tells me, I'll call the guy, tell him to start at 6:30. Well, the construction time is 7, it's not even 6:30, and, you know, I get nowhere. So my remedy was, in essence, I could spend my money, go to court, get a writ of mandamus to make the city enforce its law. That's not something I want to do. I like the city. I live here full time. I want to make things better. So I looked at the ordinance here, and I have a couple of questions or concerns that I think maybe might tighten this up. The first one is on page 3, in prohibited activities. I'm curious why it's only private property. Don't people make noise on public property? I mean, what if I go into Gateway Park with a giant loudspeaker or something like that? I just wonder, why does it need the word private property? We just could have a noise ordinance for all property. That way I can enforce it on the beach, because as this is written now, the beach is not private property. How do I enforce that? And that's going to possibly be what occurs. My second point is on page 5. I don't know how this is enforced. There's an enforcement provision.
Sorry to interrupt, but the 3 minutes are up, Mayor.
Can I have an extra 2? I'm almost done.
I'm sorry, I didn't even follow where's the private property that you're referring?
193-3. It shall be unlawful for anyone to create or operate or cause to operate on private property any source of
But
sound.
that's the existing ordinance, that's not that's not the proposed amended
But when you amend
language.
this ordinance, that's going to remain. So I'm saying, while you're doing this, this is a good time. That's why I took the time, looked at it, and came down here. Now's the time to do it, if you agree with that point.
Right, we're here to approve or vote on the amended language, not the existing language, right?
Well, you're here to revise the ordinance, and this would be an appropriate time to take comments.
Okay, all right, okay, and the second item?
The
Let's
second item is,
expedite
I'm
this.
concerned about if there's any enforcement provision for these new parts that you put in here. Because the enforcement mechanism is under 193-11, manner of enforcement, and it says violations of this chapter. Where's the chapter? I'm concerned, the way I read it, in a little fancy lawyer word, that it's bifurcated or separated. I read that the regular noise ordinance is one part, but the construction noise ordinance is the second part. There's no enforcement mechanism in the top part. There's only an enforcement mechanism in the bottom part. So I just think it might be cleaner to just make sure you can either replicate it twice and say, here's how it gets enforced, or you can say this refers to both parts, if that makes any sense. Well, it makes a difference because I can't get this former city attorney to enforce it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we need an ordinance that's enforceable. You know, I'd like to have the ability to have that guy stop raking the beach at 4 in the morning outside my unit and waking me up every single day.
I don't have any comments.
So my hope is that maybe you'll consider those two things. And I'd also like to know how I proceed. You know, maybe if you can give me some advice, how do I proceed to get this to cease, this noise?
I think we're here for the narrow purpose of looking at our proposed amendments.
Apparently, your condo association has a contract with these people.
Correct.
Tell them to enforce the contract.
I've tried, but it's a POA board. I mean, again,
Well,
without having to sue everybody, I'd rather have the city enforce their noise ordinance.
But this is a contractual issue, as
No,
well as a noise issue.
Well, it is, yes.
And so, you know, we think that the way it's written is that it says that this will be the chapter will be enforced. The chapter is 193 noise,
Well, it
entire
says the
chapter,
police department will enforce
1
it.
through 11. Well,
So if I
I'm
call the
I'm not
police-
in no enforcement.
I would
business.
actually, I would agree with that. I would agree with that
Okay, so if I
assessment.
call the police department tomorrow morning, they're going to enforce this?
It's not,
They're moving earth.
it's
a construction
You're-
equipment.
it's not effective for 10 days.
Okay, well, the old code is, and it's in the old code.
I'm not going to argue with you what our police department does.
But it's in the code. It says the police department shall enforce it. This is
Our-
my problem. I'm a taxpayer. I want the law to work. I'm not arguing with you, Mr. Dawes. Well, no, I'm just trying to find out how I enforce the law as it's written. Why is that? I don't think that's an argument, it's a question. How do I get the police department to do what the law says they shall do?
Mayor, I would just say that,
yeah.
I would state that your interpretation of the code is different than ours, and I would also state that noise ordinances are traditionally extremely difficult, if not impossible, to enforce. And further, we don't own that portion of the beach, so we don't have control over that. It's a county issue. I would also argue that it's not part of a construction the way that you read the ordinance. So my recommendation is that we move the ordinance forward as amended.
I mean, we can take a look. I will say, yeah, we had an experience with the leaf blowers, right? And we had a complaint from a resident in probably your building or nearby, that, there was a leaf blower activity that was occurring before these hours, right? And it was successfully handled, but I think we're focused on, improving the ordinance. We're focused on improving the ordinance as is, and then.
I said my bit, I'll respect your time and I'll sit down.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, if we have no other public comments, if we have any other comments from the dais, any other commissioners. So for me, this is, again, a way to improve and remove the exemption that that condominiums have historically had in this ordinance, and, create a better environment for enforceability. I know it's difficult, but certainly we're trying to, move the needle a little bit in this regard, so. That being the case, I'd like to know if we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
It's a roll call.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Item 9B.
9B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, repealing Section 33-5 entitled Cone of Silence Opt-out of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, repealing ordinance number 2002-148, providing for repeal, providing for severability, providing for notice to the Miami-Dade County Commission on Ethics, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. The Cone of Silence was presented in detail during the first reading at last month's agenda. Additionally, there has been no amendments done since the first reading. Therefore, with that being said, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to address them at this time.
Thoroughly covered and through our last meeting, so thank you.
Yeah.
We have no public speaker comments on this item, so unless we have any, it's a good policy and good for transparency and so forth. So thank you, and hopefully we'll be able to move this and progress with the efficacy of our procurement process.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting this item.
I'm glad we're no longer an exception to the rule.
We're the last holdout,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
The
yes, we
last
were.
muni in the county, right?
That's correct.
To get this thing
So
implemented.
Now
huh?
we're on that, aligned with the best practices for public procurement.
Perfect.
Thank you. With your stewardship, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Genesis.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have no comments. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
sorry.
second.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Move second. Roll call?
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, item 9C.
9C is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 251, Property Assessed Clean Energy Program of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, providing for clarification of terms, revising program standards, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, it's me. This is the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. We discussed this at length at the last meeting. There have been no changes to the proposed ordinance. If you have any questions.
None from me, no public speakers, and I think thoroughly discussed and vetted at our last meeting, unless anybody has any on the commission. Can I have a motion? So moved.
I'll second.
Commissioner Joseph, second, the Vice Mayor. Roll call.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph, Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Okay. Item 10A. Are we on
10A, yes, ma'am. 10A is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of forfeiture funds for the implementation of an e-citation module and related equipment and additional computer system software.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Mr. Manager, Commission. I'm happy to be here, requesting approval to expend DOJ forfeiture funds on the following items. I think you'll be pleased, we're requesting to purchase an e-citation module that will modernize police operations by allowing officers to issue traffic citations electronically for an amount of $44,495. Additionally, we'd like to purchase printers, which will be placed in every officer's vehicle. This will allow the electronically generated citations to be printed out and given to the driver, and the cost of that will be $77,415.09. We also would like to purchase a software upgrade to our police computer system to the latest version, which will offer a more robust solution for $17,745. Additionally, we'd like to purchase additional computer licenses to give access to the police computer database for the new and future hires for $21,900.
We bringing this police department into the 21st century?
We're trying, yes.
We're working on it, huh? Okay. We have no public speakers, so we have any comments? Of course, we're very pleased to see us moving and expect to see more tickets.
Yes, definitely right on
This means greater velocity of ticketing, right?
New
Okay.
excitement, and it comes with the excitement, they're going to want to do more, so quicker.
We can't wait. Just slow down on the roads. I must say that as those of us who were part of this, the interview process that occurred in the last 6 months, among the items that were really presented as, innovations for the prospective police chiefs, was this item of this e-ticketing and, moving technology to give greater efficiency and, greater productivity. And really, it's very commendable to see this being implemented. This was among the takeaways from that whole interview process that occurred prior to your tenure. So we have wanted and aspired to have a more progressive, a more electronic, and a more technology-driven, because that again improves productivity, it improves efficiency. It's just overall, it's just for the betterment of the department and the city. So really want to thank you for moving this along and moving our department in the absolute best direction possible. So thank you.
Pleasure.
I would like to follow a little bit on that. I think the 21st century comment is right on. I understand that. I don't know if we're the last city in the county still writing tickets by hand, but we're certainly, we're in very selective company if we're not the last ones. So I think definitely, just moving that forward. It's not just easier to write the ticket, but I understand even when it's a court issue. It's just easier you can actually manage more cases it's easier to organize all that information when it's electronic than when you have to be filling fading yellow handwritten things, right? So it probably will give us better results in court as well, aside from it just being long overdue. So thank you for asking, and we're happy to, I assume, when we vote, that we'll be happy to give it.
Do they have a mini system for the motorcycles?
Yes, they do. The motors will have a different type of system where it's going to be more portable. It's going to fit in their saddlebag or saddle box. And it's actually, we've tested the printers already. Within the department, we tested the different types of printers, and they work very well. So they help make our decision.
And it's forfeiture funds, so the price is right.
Yes, yes, it
That
is.
it is.
Keep on. Okay, I think we've pretty much, unless we have any other comments, if we have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
This is a reza, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we can do
Voice vote.
a voice vote. Okay, I'll get that part. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioner Lama.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are we combining those two items, or
We
we're going to
should
run them
have, but
separately?
we didn't mention it at the beginning, so I'll just have to
Okay.
read the title very quickly.
Okay, so do we need a second presentation, or can we just do a motion and a voice?
Let me just read the title, and then we can move forward.
Okay.
10B is a resolution approving the interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County Clerk of the Courts for continued participation in the Uniform Digital Parking Citation Issuing System.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Norman, who needs a consent agenda, right? Okay, item 10C.
10C is a resolution approving an agreement with Policing with Passion.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is our contract with Paul O'Connell, our consultant who has assisted us during this transition with Chief Santiago, and we would like to continue our working relationship with him and continue to provide you with reports and updates.
If you'd like to come up and speak.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor Commission. My name is Paul O'Connell. I am the Managing Director for Policing with Passion. I have 44 years of police work, which explains the gray hair. It has been my pleasure and my absolute pleasure to come down here and help this man, Chief Santiago, move this department forward in the right direction. And I think you've already seen the work that he's done, the team that he's put together. And again, it's a work in progress, but we are going in the right direction.
Aye. We absolutely, we feel it and we experience it every day on the streets, internally. It's been quite a very positive process. So we give a debt of gratitude to the service that you've provided for our department and our city.
And we've had excellent feedback from residents as well.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
So thank you so much for your continued work and really excellent counsel for our department. I think Chief Santiago would nod in agreement, right? Very much so. This is really wonderful.
We're always going to have the mobile barber, right?
Here in Sunny Isle, we fund the police.
So we have no public speakers, so with that, I think do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, second. Stuyvesant, second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Lama? You with us? Are we okay? We're in agreement? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. O'Connell. Okay. Item 10D.
10D is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of budgeted and approved funds with Software House International for upgrades and related subscriptions to the city's computer servers. And we can also combine this one with 10E, which is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of budgeted and approved funds with PC Solutions and integration for upgrades to the city's Wi-Fi equipment and software.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commission. The items before you are, we're requesting authorization to expend budgeted funds for the purchases described with the two vendors, Software House International and PCS. Do you have any questions for me?
I have no questions. Any public speakers? No public speakers for this item. So this is all budgeted and approved and so forth.
All budgeted funds, yes.
Okay. If we have no other comments on this.
Only that these would be great consent agenda items.
Yes, they would be great
Just throwing
consent
that out
agenda
there.
items, but.
Okay, Derek could be home.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Item 10F.
10F is a resolution approving a third amendment with FPI Security Services.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. The item in front of you tonight is to do a third and final amendment with our agreement with FPI Security Services. That agreement ends at the end of this month on June 30th. We've had the agreement in place with them since 2018 to provide security, customer service at the pier parking lot, help traffic enforcement, make sure things don't back up onto Collins Avenue, get cars in and out when the lot is full. They're there 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's 9 in the morning until 7 at night. So this third and final amendment to our agreement will take us until June 30th, 2023. We're requesting an additional $60,000 for this third and final amendment, with the total not to exceed amount for the contract to $300,000.
Can I just give you a shout out for the incredible job you did for the for our various celebrations? Thank you. Really
I appreciate
incredible.
it. It was our team. It was a team
It's
effort.
just
Our teams came
amazing.
up and we did the best we could to provide for that special anniversary for the city.
Outstanding, really.
I do have a question. At what time is closing the Pier Park right now?
10 p.m.
Okay, is it possible now during the summer to move it a little bit later? Because now the days are longer, so...
The Pier Park parking lot, is that what you mean, or the
No,
pier?
no, the pier.
So we had it open longer, and we actually had somebody out there counting people, and it was like 4 people were coming after 7 p.m. So they reduced it back because it's not cost effective to keep it open for that
Was
few
this
people.
during the summer vacation, like after school let out?
No.
So
It was
can we do a second count and see if?
To reconsider, yes.
So we do have a management company. We will talk to them and see if we can get that arranged.
Thank you, yeah, thank you, yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So this is for the security services. So we have no public speakers, so if we have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 10G.
10G is a resolution approving a third amendment to the agreement with G Concrete Development.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, I'm speaking on behalf of Rick Lebinsky, our city engineer who's on vacation today. This is the third and final amendment with G Concrete. That is the company that we contracted with to do the repairs of the pier, the Bella Vista Bay dock after it was damaged in Hurricane Irma. Some of these funds will be reimbursed through FEMA. We need to finish the project. This is the last part to bring the power underground from its source to the docks, along with the water lines.
We have no public speakers, so I'll just ask, just for the benefit of the audience, what are we looking at in terms of the opening of this?
So
This-
at the
This
la-
pier, at least the dock area.
So at the last commission meeting, you approved the design for Bella Vista Bay Park as a park. So getting to the docks, you need to be able to traverse this park. So it'll still be probably at least 9 to 12 months by the time they design it and construct it.
Okay.
And for those who had asked about a kayak launch,
That is in the park design, yes.
so it's coming for the non-motorized.
Non-motorized sports only.
Launches. Okay, so, yeah, people had, remember they had suggested that for when we were talking about
The Ritz
Thank you.
property.
And so, it's coming.
Okay, there are no speakers, no public speakers, so if we have a motion,
So moved.
second, you have a second? Commissioner Joseph, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 10H,
10H is a resolution awarding request for proposals number 220301 to Style Catering, Inc.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. We went out to bid RFP number 22-03-01 for the rental management of Gateway Center. So since we opened Gateway Center, we have a lot of people requesting to rent it. We don't currently have the staff on hand to manage that. So we went out to bid, and this company will manage the entire thing. They will meet with the prospective renter, find out what their event is about, help them design it, manage all of the subcontractors, and for that, we will get 70% of the rental fee that they charge, and we will be we'll be setting the rental fee. So we get 70%, they get 30%, and they do all the work. It's quite a good agreement.
how quickly will this be implemented after we approve this? Because, there is that, people send emails, and they want to know, how can we rent out the ballroom space? How can we rent out Gateway, right? So how are we going to effectively?
She's ready to hit the ground running. She has been at the facility and already done a couple of events for us, so she's very familiar. We just need to finalize a rental package in cooperation with her, and then once that hits the streets, she's ready to go.
So just, again, for clarification, this is the rental where if somebody wants to rent the space in Gateway, they can bring their own caterer subject to this agreement, or it has to be the caterer of this company?
She will have approved caterers because we're holding this company responsible liability-wise. They provide us insurance, indemnity agreement. They are fully responsible for anything that happens in there. So the caterer has to be a sub of hers to be able to meet that criteria.
So there's no flexibility in the catering?
There is.
If I wanted to,
she will
she
have-
has vendors that are independent, or
Yes.
that they're not subsidiaries of her company?
No, she has independent caterers that she can use. So if you want a special menu, if you want kosher, if you want, something, she'll have different options.
But it's a controlled environment.
Correct. You could not bring in your own food, for example.
Okay. And so we'll have information on our portal, and we'll have scheduled times and subject to the availability of city programmed events.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it won't affect our events, right?
It will not affect our events. We have to approve every rental that they are considering.
Perfect.
So it's a partnership with them, where we'll be doing, working on that calendar together. We'll have blackout dates, probably, around the city anniversary, things like that.
Who is the liaison in the city for this contract?
So.
Susan?
No.
Besides you.
Definitely not. We're still working that out. We are trying to fully staff Gateway Center, but there would be a Gateway Center supervisor that would manage that and be that liaison.
Okay, but this will not, once we start this process of renting out, it will not interfere with the day-to-day operations of Gateway, right? It's
Absolutely not.
So we're not going to close Gateway when there's an event, correct? It's not like,
No. And part of why Gateway's hours right now are what they are is so that we do have the ability to have rentals on the weekends. Friday night and weekends are the typical primary time. So they would definitely, we have a lot of activities, you know, obviously probably never on a Wednesday could they rent it for anything because we have our programming going.
I'm surprised that only one entity bid on this. I know I received a call from another prospective bidder, but I'm surprised that nobody stepped up to do this.
We put it out and we even held a second mandatory pre-bid meeting because the first one, weather was really bad. So we had a second, we rescheduled it to give everybody an opportunity to attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
And this is for how long is this, this is going to be for, this is an annual and a renewal, or we're going to give a long-term?
We'd like an initial 2-year with up to 3 1-year renewals.
2-year. And the renewal, that's an option that's exercised by the vendor or for us?
It's solely up to us.
Okay,
Well,
so we don't have to exercise that option. It's just a
Correct.
2-year contract, which,
And we'll have our standard cancellation clause as well.
and it's an exclusive arrangement. In other words, every booking has to go through them.
That is correct,
Okay.
yes. That'll also help us keep the quality of the facility. If there's one person using it and taking care of it,
Yeah, that makes sense.
rather than different people coming in and out.
And it's their insurance and so forth. And they are the ones who did the celebration of the After
Aisles
Dark,
After
the
Dark.
Aisles
Yes.
After
And the
Dark, which
women's
was
event.
beautiful, so.
And the women's event, yes.
Okay. Okay, well, if we only had one, only one entity stepped up to the plate, right?
Yes, but I can tell you, we checked their references. Kelly helped with that, and they all came
Thank you,
back
Kelly.
exceptional. What we were really looking for was the property owners and how they interacted with this particular company to make sure that the property was well taken care of.
Well, we certainly have a lot of pent-up demand for that, to rental that space. When the published rates are available,
Yes.
we'll see how much that demand is. But certainly, we're gonna offer that through market rate, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It'll be comparable to what you would get in other places in the city of the same quality and caliber.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, we don't have a copy of the contract, but it's more of the approval.
This is the award.
The
This is
award.
awarding it and giving the city manager the authority to enter into the agreement.
Okay.
So we'll see the contract next time.
We won't be bringing it back to you, but we will certainly give,
okay.
give it to you, sure.
Okay, so that being said, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have the vice mayor, do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, okay, item 10I.
Tonight is a resolution terminating the local agency program agreement with the state of Florida for the 180th Government Center pedestrian bridge.
The city entered into an agreement with FDOT with a LAP agreement, a local agency program agreement for the funding of the pedestrian bridge that was originally anticipated to be built here at 180th and Collins Avenue. Since that time, a surface crosswalk has been installed, and based on our pre-budget meetings individually, there wasn't a desire to move that project forward right now. FDOT gave us an ultimatum, basically, that we either had to move it forward, go out to bid, or cancel this agreement, because this agreement did have some timelines that we had to meet. So at this time, we are recommending that you terminate the agreement for the $500,000 grant, and then but the plans are done, they're on the shelf if you want to bring it back.
Okay, just to clarify, this is the overhead bridge on 180th Street that would have connected east to west Collins Avenue, and no funds have been allocated. FDOT has not, we have not.
They have not given us anything for this yet, no.
Okay, so we're just terminating that agreement.
Correct.
Okay.
And we can always reapply in the future if needed? Or
Yes.
try or find other funding if needed?
Yes, you could.
So we're going to pull that out of the capital the capital projects?
Yes, we'll discuss that in the budget workshop, but yes, that is the plan.
Okay, well, I think my views on that are well-known. So we have no public speakers, so if we don't have any comments from the commission, I think we're in agreement here. Can I entertain a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, do I have a second? Commissioner Joseph, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item 10J.
J. 10J is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding regarding Article 26 of the collective bargaining agreement.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this item is a memo of understanding between the city and the PBA. And what we're doing essentially, we're eliminating the corporal position and establishing the sergeant position in our bargaining unit agreement. The bargaining unit is in favor of it, as well as our police department and our consultant.
Still public speakers.
Any public speakers? No? Any comments?
No.
Would the chief like to speak on this?
I'm here.
Okay, we're here, Commissioner.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, Mr. Manager. So this is part of moving forward, becoming more progressive. It's also a recommendation of the consultant as we're adding more officers, we're growing, the span of control and responsibility is getting bigger. And it's important to have sergeants in control and in charge of the shifts. In the past, there was sergeant positions that are currently occupied by corporals, and it just needs a change for us to progress and move forward. It's recommended that we go forward with this change.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. I make a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really moving us forward. Thank you. Item 10K.
10K is a resolution expressing support for the establishment of a new high school to service Sunny Isles Beach and neighboring communities.
Okay, so I'm going to read from the, I'm going to read and then I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Okay, as the city continues to strive for the improvement of the quality of life of all residents, including for the youth of our community and their education, there is a need for a public high school to service the students within our geographical boundaries and that of our neighboring communities, including Golden Beach, Surfside, Bay Harbor Islands, Bal Harbor, and the village of Indian Creek. Pursuant to Section 1001.42 Florida statutes, the Miami-Dade County School Board has the authority to adopt and provide for the execution of plans for the establishment, organization, and operation of the schools within Miami-Dade County. The city wishes to express their support and desire to work with the neighboring communities in support of a new public high school in close proximity to the city to service city residents and neighboring communities. So this is an initiative that, in fact, concurrently, this resolution is being adopted by the city of the town of Surfside. So the whole impetus of this was really that all of the coastal municipalities, the V6, again, Surfside, Bal Bay, Indian Creek, Golden Beach, and Sunny Isles Beach, that we're all together expressing our support, which we will then bring to the county to have a high school that will service our area. So this is not something that we anticipate would be within our physical border and our limits, but the starting place is the mayors and the respective commissions of these respective municipalities are all together in support, and we will bring this together to the county to establish the parameters for having a local high school that will service our respective municipalities. Really excited about this. I think that putting us all together will create that force that's necessary to really get a high school to service our area. So with that being said, I don't have any we don't have any public speakers, but certainly I'd like to hear from the commission. I think we all have kids, right? That not all of us will benefit because our kids are probably going to age out by the time this happens, but certainly would like all of us as on the commission as parents of kids want to hear how we feel about that.
I'll start. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in exploring options. You don't lose anything by trying. And then if an amazing opportunity opens up, then, wonderful. And if not, then, you tried. My only concern going forward would be the traffic. We're struggling with traffic now, so that's something that we would, depending on if it ultimately gets built anywhere, that's something that we would probably feel. But the coastal option is nice, and I think if we can make it happen, there's no harm in looking, and definitely putting the pressure on it. I think going together as a group of cities rather than an individual city is a good thing.
Yes, the idea is we're, among the options, we would be the northernmost point other than Golden Beach. So certainly, we would be looking at something where the traffic wouldn't necessarily, right? If the traffic is going east to west, we're probably looking at, north to south. And so while the traffic is a concern,
most likely.
That's the likely scenario. So that being the case, you're going to have traffic anyway, right? Because if the kids of the parents that are going to school, if they're going to ATM, there's traffic, right? If they're going to NSU or they're going to Mast, there's traffic, right? There's the inevitability of traffic because the kids have to be transported.
If you have to go west, you're going to have to be on Collins.
Right. So
that
makes
sense.
While there's traffic, it's the same impact.
Yeah, I like the idea of exploring and getting options. I'm particularly very satisfied with our current high school, which is ATM, and I think they're doing a fantastic job at this moment. But why not consider another high school? Yeah, our population is just getting younger and younger. So yeah, we are going to need more space in the near future.
Right, and this is again because of our situation where we have a growing population. Again, the idea is to bring the 6 municipalities together to push this initiative forward. Really not us acting in isolation. It's really the 6.
But also, if it ever gets built, I wish that we can, from the very beginning, have control of the address verification. So we don't have the issue that we have right now with Norman Edelcup, that I think, and I'm really passionate about it, it just went out of control. So if we are going to entertain this issue, and hopefully being built in the future, I hope that it will not bring the troubles and problems that we have right now with our current school. That'll be my wish
To
and
apply the
hope.
lessons learned, right? I mean,
Completely, yeah,
We
please.
have to apply, or maybe even go the charter route or whatever, but those are conversations for way down the road.
Correct.
So
It starts with, again, and it started with Surfside. We are right there with Surfside and with Bell Harbor is expressing support, Bay Harbor Islands, so this is already a discussion point, and we're moving the ball forward. We have a newly elected, representative at the county commission. We feel that the time is right to really, establish a footprint for these coastal communities. So it's a propitious moment to move that initiative forward. So that being said, if we have no other comments,
No.
we have a motion. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Yeah.
We have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Okay. Item 10L, and we're gonna queue this resolution up again with the other municipalities, Surfside and so on and so forth. So this will also be presented as the starting point, really the line in the sand.
10L was
Okay.
deferred.
Item 10L is deferred. Item 12A.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this item is really placed on the agenda for the public's benefit. It's just so that they're informed of what's going on. So over the last few, or actually not last few, but most of the election cycles that we've had in the past, we've continuously received complaints about the precinct that's located at the Intercoastal Yacht Club, whether it be accessibility issues, parking, a number of issues with that specific location. So now with Gateway Center coming online, it made a lot of sense for it to be moved to that site. We've met with the Miami-Dade County Elections Department. They also agreed, and it's been officially moved to the Gateway Center. The first elections that will be held there will be the August primaries, and moving forward, that will be the permanent location.
Excellent. Good work. Thank you so much. Thanks for that. I'm sure that will increase the accessibility and the utility,
Hopefully.
right? So
Yes.
it's a great step forward to have that precinct moved
Absolutely.
over.
And
So-
I'll just mention one more thing, Mayor. For all the people that live in that precinct, which is precinct number 4, you will be receiving new voter ID cards listing the correct address and location.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
No, yeah.
And we saw you inspecting the room this
Yes.
afternoon. We were wondering what you were checking behind the curtains over there in the Gateway
Yeah.
Center this afternoon. So now we know what it was all about. Okay, we have our next discussion item, which is our add-on discussion regarding the Women's Commission. So I'd like to just preface with, I want to acknowledge the good and innovative thought from former Commissioner Rabinovich, Joanna Rabinovich, who's in our audience. This is a great initiative and a thought for, putting together a women's commission. There's precedent for that in other longstanding tradition of having women's commissions in various municipalities through the county. We have a very well-established women's commission in Miami-Dade County, North Miami Beach, North Miami, and I forget the other, but there's one or two others here right in our area. And there are many good reasons to have a women's commission to advance some of the needs and the objectives of moms, children, families, and so forth, and women's issues. So without further ado, I'd like to invite former Commissioner Rabinovich up to present.
Thank you. That was very welcoming. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. So yes, I'm here tonight to propose the creation of an advisory board, the Commission for Women. The Commission for Women would be an advisory board to the city commissioners, to administration, to the public at large about issues pertaining to the status of women. Essentially, we would be advocating for women, children in our community, and striving to improve their quality of life. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy established the President's Commission on the Status of Women, where Eleanor Roosevelt was the chair. The Commission for Women trickled throughout the country, eventually made it all the way on a local level. Like our mayor mentioned, in our state, we have several county commissions for women, and also we have a lot of neighboring local municipalities as well that have created their own. These commissions are advocates for equality and justice for women. They serve their communities in a various of ways, depending on the resources available, and to disseminate and educate the community. Each commission functions independently, responding to the needs of its particular community and reporting to its own local government. I believe it's important to understand that females as a whole will always, hopefully not always, but will continue to face inequalities, and that it includes our own residents. I am a proud woman who wholeheartedly believes in empowering other women and believe that this is a great beginning to an organized formality of being able to have a lot of initiatives for the women and children of our community and families. Our responsibilities would include, but not limited to, supporting economic and civic opportunities for women, encouraging mentoring programs for girls and young women, advising on policies and legislation that impact women, identifying programs and opportunities for the benefit and advancement of women, and serving as a resource center for women in our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's a wonderful initiative and very worthy, and there are so many avenues, whether it's the Mammo Bus or daycare, family care. Heart, a perfect example is the city of North Miami Beach has really, advocated and recognized how heart disease really impacts women and so forth. So there are many things, many recommendations, and many things much good that can come out of this type of a commission for the benefit of women and families.
Also, Alzheimer too, and dementia, early dementia, is more for women than for men, between many other diseases. Yeah.
So again, this is a discussion item, so if we're in agreement or this is of interest, whether we would want to.
I think this is as an umbrella item. It encompasses a lot of things. I think it's good in terms of bringing forward health-related issues and activities, but also I think it opens the doors to some more uncomfortable conversations that we maybe don't have really the avenue to have in some places, and where women in the community need help. There are financial issues, there's domestic violence issues, there's and the financial can sometimes be, we have a huge percentage of people in poverty are women. And with those women are usually children. And a huge percentage of the people in the homeless shelters are women and children. And I think this is so timely because we're having right now the increasing rents and the affordable housing. It's going to create a lot of pressure on our families. And I think it's a time when we're going to see a need for greater connectivity to resources and services. And it's conversations that we haven't been having, and we maybe just resource it out, and we need to be prepared to serve that need. It's already here, but I think it's definitely going to grow as the housing crisis continues, because it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So I think for that, it's definitely a good thing to explore, and I would certainly advance the conversation.
Yeah, how can we move it forward? Like we put it in the agenda for the next commissioner meeting. It creates a committee.
Yes, that's exactly what we would do. We would have to, create an advisory committee essentially.
But I think that's part of the conversation, whether it's a committee or whether we like Commissioner Lama said, like he did with the elderly, whether it's something that would be depending on what the goal is. We understand how it's been done in North Miami Beach and in other places. And it's been a committee, and maybe we'll go that route. But I think we can also consider in terms of accessibility to services, maybe that part can just be, different, right? It's creating access to those resources can be part of something else that the city does that's not necessarily part of that. But I think as the conversation unfolds, we'll figure that out. So we can definitely consider the committee versus the, I don't know,
Like a task force
like a
and-
task force, whatever
me,
will advance the goal best, right?
So for me, it's really a committee because it's a more formalized structure, and I think there's enough, it's fruitful enough, and there's enough in the basket to really formalize a committee process rather than having
I agree.
a task force. I think we can really, channel all of those items through, and
Plus-
I think, unlike some committees, with varying degrees, I think we can easily staff that committee.
Also, if it's a committee, it gives us the opportunity to participate in their conversations. And if it's a task force, then we cannot be two of us at the same time over there, or.
Well, I think we would face the challenge regardless, right? We have to be careful
Sorry,
regardless.
just to clarify that, it's
Yeah.
the other way around. If it's a committee, it's bound by the Sunshine Law. If it's a task force.
No,
that's
exactly, but
limited.
we can participate when they are together, right? Like in the ESAC and the MAPSAC, like.
Regardless of
Yeah.
whether it's a committee or a task force, having two commissioners speak about something that can potentially come before the commission for a vote is a violation of the Sunshine.
When they meet, that was my point, like when they meet.
No matter if it's a
Okay.
meeting or not. If it's
Okay.
a scheduled meeting, then, of the commission, then that's something
Just-
different.
Okay.
For me, it's a committee, but not every 2 weeks, right? Right, Mauricio?
Yes.
Right.
Once a month, I think is good.
Yeah,
No,
that's good.
I'm not opposed to the committee issue. I'm just saying, like we should be open as it unfolds to other possibilities, but it more than likely will be a committee because it's how it's done in other places and it works, so why reinvent the wheel? I just like to offer options, as we move forward. But excellent.
I haven't heard from Commissioner Joseph, Commissioner Lama, but I'm all for this, formation of a committee for this purpose. I think there is just tremendous opportunity for contribution to our city and to our residents, in our large population. So I would absolutely advocate for the formation of a committee by ordinance or resolution, however it's done. Ordinance by ordinance. So for me, this is a discussion, but I would like to advance that forward. Commissioner Lama, Commissioner Joseph, any comments or?
Yeah, I just, I mimic a lot of the comments that were made. I would just say that we'll have to decide whether it is a task force or a committee or what have you, and kind of weigh those options, the plus and minuses for each.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we're talking about the options, and so again, I think, I'd like to see this more formalized. That's just my, perspective.
Well, I've made my opinions known previously regarding committees and their effectiveness. I'm just, if whatever is established down the line, I want to have a, handle on any funding that might occur.
Right. I don't see this as a funding. I mean, there's no financial impact to, right?
Or minimal, I mean.
Because
It might have some
It's
staff.
just some staffing needs, but again, we're not going to do it every other week,
just
right?
the whole aspect of what was presented seems like it could, if it were ever funded, it could be out of control.
Yeah, I don't see this. I mean, again, for a perfect example, would be like how the Mammo bus was implemented, right? So it was an idea to put out there to provide this service for the benefit of women in the community, but we don't pay for that Mammo bus, right? We just give them a parking space once every 6 months. So there's no net impact, no net fiscal impact on this.
No, but there were different aspects that were
Well-
presented.
But I think let's not get in the weeds now. I think as a concept, I think it's worth pursuing. And I don't know if you want to,
And I only made
see
a
this
general
as a,
statement
in
as
the-
well.
Do you want to see this in the agenda next month?
Yes, I'd like to see this, formed in the next agenda.
Okay. All right, so that would be the direction, right?
Okay, all right, so, okay, I think we're getting to the same page here. Thank you so much for presenting. Do we, so we have some direction here, okay. And then now we have public forum, we have public speakers forum. Do we have one speaker's card here?
Actually, Mayor, that gentleman withdrew his,
Okay.
his
Oh,
time. Yeah.
so
He-
that's
he
it?
left.
We're
Motion
done?
to adjourn?
Who
at
won the
8:35?
bet?
I just did. If you
You
say
won the
motion
bet.
to adjourn,
If we have
I
a motion
win.
to adjourn,
Actually-
we take bets on when the meeting's gonna end. Roberto, you've been very patient. You've been very patient. You're just nodding, right?
motion to adjourn.
We got out before 9 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay, you're like, I'm here. It's not a glacier, I'm here, right? That's
Motion
it?
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.